it kind of goes hand in hand with that. But specifically for no trump, no good length lead. We typically lead fourth best against no trump. I will tell you that in an ideal world of defending, we have a 5-card suit to lead from. Fourth best is actually more attractive when it's fourth best from a 5-card suit and not just a 4-card suit. And sometimes even when you have a normal fourth best, right. Now, never mind what the auction is, you're on lead against 3-0. What's your normal lead from this hand? Presumably a fourth best club. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that. It may be as good as any. But I do think you should be asking yourself before you automatically lead your fourth best club, am I actually getting this crappy suit set up today? Because you don't have an entry to your hand, right? And so the club may work out well if you catch partner with a good club holding, and in particular, a good club holding that eventually has a smaller one that can get back to you. But more than likely, defending 3-0, you're going to make your opening lead, and it's quite likely you'll never be on lead again on this hand, right? So sometimes I look for an alternative here.
Well, you also ask your partner to lead that suit, and sometimes they're doing something better to help themselves.
Well, I mean, you're not specifically asking partner to lead the suit back. I mean, you're just making your length lead.
Okay.
And partner's got to try and figure out to some degree whether you can actually. Yeah, I mean, look, if Declare and Dummy show up with all the top honors, a partner may know when she gets the lead, I'm not going to bother returning partner's suit because I can already see it's going nowhere. So, or maybe they do because it's a passive thing to do, right? Yeah, partner's never actually going to score that jack of clubs, but since our opponents have ace, king, and queen anyhow, why don't we just give them that trick and let them figure out where all the other high cards are? Because, I mean, you may know as a defender, if the opponents have an auction where they end up in game and you can tell from their bidding that they're right on the cusp, right? They're in 3-0, they've got their 25 or 26 points, and your partner's looking at 12 points over there, right? Your partner knows you're broke, right? Like there's no room for you to have anything. So they're going to know that. So this is one of those situations where as defenders, like, okay, your partner can't see what's in your hand, but knows that you don't have anything. Your partner knows that all of the missing high card points are in her hand. The declare doesn't know that, right? As far as the declare knows, any missing honors are equally likely to be in either defender's hand. So, don't help them. If your partner gets on lead, it's probably a good idea to not be too eager to break new suits or lead away from honors, knowing that you're not going to have anything, right? And that all they can be doing is helping declare. So sometimes that passive defense continues, not just beyond the opening lead, but into the play of the hand. Another thing you'll see sometimes, let's say I'm on lead against 3-0 in a situation where my right-hand opponent opened 2-0. So I know I've got 20 points on my right. All right? So I'm like, okay, I've got a couple of scattered kings and queens here. I don't want to lead away from these. So I make a passive lead. Declare takes a finesse, and now I find myself on lead again. Declare, let's say one of the suits that I specifically avoided leading was that. I had king third. All right, I don't want to lead from that suit because my right-hand opponent probably has the ace and queen. All right, so I sit there patiently and I wait. and they're on the dummy, and they lead to their queen, and now I win my king in this suit. I still may not want to break the other suits, right? So what do? Just go ahead and return that suit. That's passive. Because now it's okay to play that suit, right? Now you're not leading away from an honor anymore. You won your honor. And they probably lost the only trick that they're likely to be losing there. Like ping pong. Oh, you lead that? Okay, I'll lead it back. Then they take a finesse another, so you win it, lead that suit back. Don't help them. It's kind of fun sometimes.
Okay, so what do you lead from your crappy hand over there?
What do I lead?
Just anything else?
I want the whole context of the auction.
Okay.
One thing that I might actually consider, I might consider a short suit lead if I think I can figure out what partner's long suit is. What if the opponents bid 1-no, 3-no? And they did not look for a major suit fit?
Yeah.
What does that tell you about dummy? That tells you that dummy probably doesn't have a 4-card major, right? All right, well, if dummy is at most 3-3 in the majors, now declare might have one or both 4-card majors. That is certainly a possibility, but
Or 5.
or 5, depending on depending on their style and agreements. But I might actually consider something like a heart lead, thinking, all right, well, there's a very good chance the partner has 4 or 5 of these since it's my short suit. Now you're guessing, but it's probably just as effective as leading 4th best from your jack nothing, right? The last one is if you find yourself on opening lead against 6-no trump or a grand slam, usually you want to be passive.
You wouldn't take your ace when you can.
Well, if I'm defending 6-no trump and I have an ace, it's not going anywhere, right? I mean, if they're going to have a chance at 12 tricks, they're probably going to have to knock out that ace to set up other winners, right? If they're in 6-no missing an ace, it means they have most of the other kings and queens in the deck, right? So, yeah, if they're in a 6-no that they belong in, right? I mean, if they haven't, if they haven't overdone it here, I mean, they're supposed to have in the vicinity of 33 points to be in 6-no, right? 33, 34 points is what we want to have normally to play 6-no. So I definitely don't feel bad. In fact, I remember playing at a tournament in the Swiss teams years ago, and my partner inexplicably led an ace against 6-no. It was the only lead that let 6-no make. 6-no had 0 play on any other lead. He could have picked any of the other 12 cards in his hand, and they would have gone set.
Okay, but against a grand slam, wouldn't you lead an ace?
Against a grand, well, one of two things is going on, in a grand. I mean, I might try to lead it if I think the opponents have had an accident, but reputable players aren't bidding grand slams without an ace unless somebody's void. Yeah. Yeah, and they may, and again, you want to listen to the auction. They have, they may have tools to diagnose that. One of the things we talked about for, I don't remember who was at the slam workshop, but we talked about exclusion keycard. So a lot of experienced partnership have ways to where they could bid to a grand when they have a void somewhere and a big fit in a suit. So. And you might have even heard or read that the kind of the standard lead against a grand slam in a suit is a trump. That's not a bad idea. It's not as it used to be thought of as that lead was virtually 100% automatic. I don't know if I'd go that far. I wouldn't say that I would lead a trump against a grand slam 100% of the time, but it's pretty common. And again, because the idea is, well, first of all, if they've bid a good grand and they always have 13 tricks, it's not going to matter what you lead anyhow, right? If there's no way to beat it, and they've had a good auction to get to a good spot, your lead won't even matter. And if there is a potential trick in there for you, let the opponents be the ones to play the hand wrong and give it to you, or to take maybe the only line to play. And sometimes, the old saying about grand slams is that you shouldn't be in them unless you can count 14 tricks. And I find more often than not, people are timid about bidding small slams. They're really timid about bidding grand slams.
Oh, yeah.
You just don't see them that often. So you figure if they're there that they probably belong there. But that doesn't mean that they can count 13 tricks off the top. So sometimes maybe the best thing to do is just lead a trump, or if it's 7 no trump, just lead something passive. And excuse me, who knows? Maybe there's a trick in there for you. Maybe a suit that they need to split isn't splitting.
If you had king, queen of a side suit on a grand slam,
That I would. I would definitely make my normal lead there. So, yeah, if they've bid to a grand, whether suit or no trump, if I had a king, queen, or a queen, jack, 10, if I had a sequence, I would definitely still lead it. Yeah, in that situation, we can call that an attack. They may have enough tricks with just the ace in that suit. Now, they may still be able to come to 13 tricks, but certainly you figure if there's a chance to beat it. One of the things that I worry about, especially when we've talked about, like leading like this, like when I lead from king, queen, X, and I don't have the jack or even the 10. I tend to not do this against no trump. I might do it on occasion against suits, but what ends up happening sometimes is that shows up in the dummy. And then ace is in Declare's hand, right? And so what have you done? You've turned 2 winners into 1, right? Because Declare can cover your king with the ace and lead a small one right back toward the jack and force out your queen, but it gives him 2 winners. Where if you stayed away from that suit, you'd probably score your king and your queen. Either with Declare having to play that suit, or if partner gets the lead and partner gets the lead through the ace, and you don't have to spend your king or queen to force the ace. So, in that situation, you think, okay, well, I want to be careful about that lead because I want to try and get 2 tricks here rather than 1. However, I would make that lead all the time against the grand slam because all you're cared about in that case is beating it, right? If your opponent's in a grand slam that goes set, you're getting a good result because most people aren't going to be in there, or aren't going to be in that contract. So you don't worry about, maybe I could get a 2 trick set. Nah, that's not the time to be greedy. So, I would go ahead and go for what looks like the sure thing. Force out that ace. Obviously, they can't afford to duck it if they're in 7, right? They've got to win it, and then hang on to your queen and hope that you score it.
Yeah.
So, we are about midway, so why don't we break now, and we'll come back and talk about cutting down roughing power, which was kind of the original plan for today.